Hi guys, Recap Corner here. Today, we're gonna be doing a big breakdown to discuss our film The Killer. Spoilers ahead. Be prepared, grab your popcorn, sit back, and get ready for a wild ride. The movie begins with John as a skilled assassin who is known to take on any job for the right price. He holds the title of the most expensive hitman in the criminal underworld. After accumulating a substantial wealth from his career, John has since retired and now desires to live a peaceful life with his spouse. John's spouse goes by the name of Natasha. One day, Natasha informs John that she plans to spend some time with her best friend, Nora, and requests that John look after Nora's stepdaughter, Sung Young. Sung Young's father has permanently left her after their divorce, and she is now 17 years old. Initially, John declines, stating that the girl is of an age where she can take care of herself. However, Natasha persists, and John reluctantly agrees to babysit the girl. Secretly, John does not want to take in an unfamiliar young woman into his home. The following day, John drives Natasha and Nora to the airport, and later in the evening, he meets Sung Yin at a coffee shop. During their conversation, Sung Yin expresses her desire to stay at a friend's house for the night. John reluctantly agrees, but before departing, he hands over some money to Sung Yin. Unbeknownst to her, he also discreetly places a tracking device in her wallet, enabling him to monitor her whereabouts. John drops Sung Yin and her friend off at the mall before returning home. Later that night, Sung Yin calls John and informs him that she is experiencing excruciating stomach pain. John rushes to her aid, sacrificing his sleep. However, upon arriving, he is shocked to discover Sung Yin enjoying time with her boyfriend. Realizing that he has been deceived, John becomes infuriated and recognizes that Sung Yin has used him as a ploy to go back home with her. John confronts Sung Yin about her previous plan to stay at her best friend's house, but she ignores him and continues to chat on her phone. Seeing this behavior, John becomes furious with himself, but manages to control his anger. Sung Yin then requests John to leave as her other friend has invited her to her house. As John begins to leave, he notices Sung Yin walking away with her boyfriend and realizes that he has been deceived once again. John notices several inebriated young women and realizes his responsibility towards Sung Yin. He decides to go after her and uses the tracking device in her wallet to locate her. John arrives at a desolate location where he encounters Donna, a woman who offers Sung Yin $200 in exchange for pleasing her client. It is revealed that Sung Yin's boyfriend brought her to this location under false pretenses. Donna threatens Sung Yin, warning her that she will not let her leave if she refuses to comply. Sung Yin responds by verbally lashing out at Donna, who then attempts to physically strike her. John intervenes and warns Donna and the others that he will not tolerate any harm coming to Sung Yin. Sung Yin's boyfriend tries to attack John, mistaking him for an ordinary man, but John, who is a professional fighter, disarms him with ease. The other men present then try to fight John, but he quickly defeats them all. John instructs them to leave the scene, but Donna attempts to attack him with a knife. John manages to dodge the attack and retaliates by punching Donna, rendering her unconscious. He then leaves the area with Sung Yin. Following this incident, Sung Yin begins to view John in a positive light, and the two develop a strong friendship. Later that evening, John and Sung Yin go out for dinner. While driving back home, they encounter police officers conducting a random check. Officer Lee stops John's car and questions him about a recent murder case involving college students. After some questioning, Lee allows John to leave. Upon arriving home, John searches for information about the incident online and discovers that the murdered students were the same boys he had fought with the previous night. He feels a sense of remorse upon learning this information. The following morning, Officer Lee pays a visit to John's house to question him further regarding the recent murder case. Lee shows John CCTV footage of his car driving near the crime scene and asks him to explain his presence there. John responds cleverly, stating that it was not just his car that passed through that area, but other vehicles as well. Lee then shows John a photo of Sung Yin with the boys who were murdered the previous night. However, John avoids discussing it since the photo is unclear, seeing Sung Yin's scared face. John is reminded of a girl he had encountered in the past. The girl had lost all hope and was on the verge of committing suicide. John convinced her to change her mind and encouraged her to let go of the past and move forward in life. He shares this story with Sun Yin and tells her that she should not let fear control her life. John assures her that he will protect her no matter what happens. Then Donna calls John and informs him that all of the guys are dead and that she has the knife you stole from the lads, which has your fingerprints on it, warning that if she gives the knife to the police, you might go into trouble. Donna warns that if you don't arrive at her house within an hour, she will present all of the evidence to the police. John agrees to meet Donna and gives Sun Yung a bracelet with a tracking device before departing. John left to meet Donna, leaving Sun Yin alone. On his way, he met a man named Zhang, who is Donna's cousin. Zhang's illegal job is to kidnap underage girls and sell them. Zhang ordered one of his men to kill John, but John easily defeated the man in a fight. Upon meeting Donna, John requests for the knife that had his fingerprints on it, but she refuses to give it to him. Consequently, John begins to torture one of Zhang's men, which leads to Zhang throwing the knife at John in fear. As John bends down to pick it up, Zhang shoots at him and runs away with the knife. John pursues Zhang into a room where he encounters a fighter who puts up a good fight, but John ultimately defeats him before leaving. Returning home, John discovers that Sun Yung has been kidnapped by a group of people. John quickly tracks her location using Sun Ying's tracking bracelet, grabs his guns, and sets out to find her. He arrives at a deserted street where he confronts Donna and demands the location of Sun Yung. Donna attempts to flee, but John catches her and demands answers. Donna threatens to have my friends kill Sun Yung if you do, and you won't even be able to discover her body. Hearing this, John decides not to kill him, but instead to torture him, at which point Donna begins to tell him the whole truth, claiming that our purpose is to abduct young girls and sell them. Sun Yin is an attractive virgin girl who was requested by a client who paid us a large sum of money to kidnap her and deliver her to him. Our business is to supply girls to clients according to their specific requests. John asks Donna where Sun Yin is, to which Donna tells him the address of the hotel where Sun Yin was kept. John asks Donna to take him to her boss to get more information about the client who demanded Sun Yin. Donna agrees and takes him to her boss's location. Now, John heads towards the hotel where Sun Yin is being kept. After he leaves, the police arrive and Officer Lee conducts a search. During the search, he discovers Donna's lifeless body in a room. As John enters the hotel, he is ambushed by a group of people. However, being a skilled fighter and killer, he manages to take them all down. To his dismay, he finds out that Sun Yin is not present in the hotel. Suddenly, he encounters a man named Yuri who reveals himself as a professional fighter working for the Russian mafia. Yuri informs John that Sun Yin will be shipped to Russia the next day at 8 a.m., but John won't be able to stop them as Yuri plans to kill him right then and there. John was determined to save Sun Yin, so he refrained from fighting with Yuri and made a quick escape. However, Yuri didn't give up and pursued him. They engaged in a long fight, and both being skilled fighters, they were evenly matched. At one point, John took advantage of the situation and tied Yuri with a rope before jumping out of the window. Yuri fell onto a car that belonged to Officer Lee, who had arrived at the scene. Officer Lee points his gun at John and demands that he accompany him to the police station, but John, being quick and clever, disarms Lee and takes him captive. He then uses Lee's car to continue his mission to save Sun Yin. After arriving at the cargo port, John finds Sun Yung inside a car that was about to be shipped to Russia. He quickly attacks the kidnappers and saves Sun Yin. However, Zhang shows up and John beats him badly, demanding to know who demanded Sun Yung. Despite John's efforts, Zhang remains silent, prompting John to shoot him. Meanwhile, Officer Lee is scared witnessing all of this. John searches Zhang and finds a mobile phone with the last call made to Officer Lee. Upon realizing that Officer Lee is involved in the human trafficking business, John confronts Lee and demands that he reveal the identity of the person behind the trafficking operation. John threatens to expose Lee's involvement to the media and reveal that he is a corrupt officer aiding the gang in trafficking girls. After the incident, a police team arrived at the location and Lee decided to cooperate with them. He told the officers that everything that had occurred was part of a police operation, and he sent John and Sun Yin to the hospital. While at the hospital, Sung Yin woke up and apologized to John, blaming herself for everything that had happened. However, John reassured her that it was not her fault. Later, while at the hospital, Lee told John that he had committed multiple murders to save Sung Yin, but he had suppressed all the cases. John reveals that he discovered Officer Lee's association with Jang's boss on the day he found Donna's dead body in Lee's car trunk. He explains that Lee had removed the body to prevent the police from discovering it and tracing it back to Jang's boss. Lee is stunned by this revelation. John demands that Lee provide him with information about the Russian mafia involved in human trafficking. At first, Lee refuses, citing the high risk involved, but he eventually relents when John presents evidence that could ruin his career. The following day, Lee finally caves and provides John with the address of a hotel where a man named Park is known to stay. Park is a member of the same gang responsible for kidnapping underage girls and trafficking them to Russia. Meanwhile, Park gets wind of the situation and attempts to flee the hotel just as John arrives. John takes out all of Park's men one by one and finally corners Park, demanding to know who demanded Sung Yin. Park contacts a woman known in their business as Pig Mama. Upon receiving a call from Pig Mama, John learns that the man behind the demand for Sung Yin is a judge named Kim Park. Here, Park confesses to John that they kidnap underage girls, and after one girl is chosen for the judge's pleasure, the rest are sold in Russia and Asia for exorbitant amounts. After gathering all the necessary information, John kills Park as well. John contacts someone who quickly arrives with a team to clean up the crime scene and dispose of the bodies. The team specializes in cleaning up for gangsters and the mafia to leave no evidence behind. After the cleanup, John meets with one of his partners in the arms business. John acquires a powerful sniper rifle from his partner and prepares to take action. However, he receives a call from Lee, who reveals that the mastermind behind the underage girl trafficking is none other than the president of the Central District Law, who is heavily protected by influential politicians. Lee warns John that he cannot go after him without facing severe consequences. John acquires the judge's address despite the potential political risks, being a fearless professional assassin. Lee discloses that Sung Yin's father died in a car accident and she now lives with her stepmother. John arrives at the hotel where Judge Kim is engaging in illicit activities with young girls. He starts to take down each of the judge's men one by one with his sniper rifle. Mama Pig has sent a new female to here to satisfy the judge. John entered the room, firing at everyone in sight. Yuri was also present, retaliating with his own shots. Firing begins between the two, and Officer Lee is with John. However, as soon as Lee gets a chance, he takes John at gunpoint. Yuri captures John and brings him before the judge. John confronts the judge and confirms that he is the one who demanded Sung Yin. The judge smiles and orders his men to attack John. Despite being outnumbered, John fights back and takes down all of the men. He tells Lee that he spared him so that he could meet the judge. John kills Lee, and then Yuri arrives, prompting a long and drawn-out fight between the two. John eventually outmaneuvers Yuri, badly wounding him until he finally kills him. When John enters the judge's chamber, the judge realizes that John will kill him as well. Desperate for his own survival, the judge tries to lure John with money and offers to let him work for him. John inquired about Pig Mama's involvement from the judge, who confirmed her participation in the business. After obtaining all the necessary information, John eliminated the judge. Meanwhile, Natasha was having a conversation with her friend Nora when the latter received a phone call. Nora arrives in her car and answers the call, which was from the judge's phone. It turns out that Nora was involved in the trafficking of girls with the judge. However, Nora's daughter is not Sung Yin, as she was actually her stepdaughter, whom she was selling for a high price. The judge had revealed all of this information to John. After killing the judge, John uses Nora's phone to call her. As Nora picks up the call inside her car, John is seen sitting behind her. Nora is taken aback to see John, as she had no idea that he was a professional killer. She had assumed him to be a regular person. John takes Nora out of the city and assures her that he will take care of Sung Young. He then kills her. John contacts the same team that previously cleaned up the crime scene to erase any remaining evidence. After that, John meets his wife and embraces her, and it is revealed that the girl he saved from suicide in the past was actually Natasha. The movie concludes with this revelation. Thank you for joining us into our review. We hope you had as much fun watching it as we did breaking it down for you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video from us.